choosing and accepting and defining, and it took 4 days, 4 very intensive days. Myself and Linda Morris were sort of strapped in the cockpit of an airplane and was unable to get out because we had to continuously look at images and listen to tapes and look at texts while the selecting process was taking place. But on 2 evenings, I had to go to my hotel with a pack of literature that big, and it took me till over midnight to go through texts and trying to select and decide. So it was extremely intensive, and we did our utmost to be fair to what was presented to us. We did what we could. And this is the consequence in this building and that building of this 4 days work.
So forgive me, because a lot of the work you've done has been highly distinctive and often with an enormous seriousness that makes it distinctive. So in a way I'm wondering whether you chose according to an agenda that you brought to it, or whether you simply looked at the work and tried to make a good show.
Well, you can imagine that it is more complicated than that.
Sure.
And it was under great difficulty that we came to this final conclusion. And there were several factors involved. And the first one would be quality and impact. The quality and impact, which of course we didn't get from talking or seeing the artists. We saw it from what they sent in. It would be slides largely, which was the basis, slides largely, projects, proposals. And so the decisions were made on the quality, the impact of the proposals, the ideas, the visuals. But that would be only part. If we had, I'm now looking back, if we had only selected works on the basis of quality and impact, I don't think we would have come to a satisfactory exhibition. So the further away I come away from that period of selection, the more I realized we were also, or I was, we were, because we were, so, as I said, strapped in close. So there was an interchange, of course. I would do the final decision, but we would obviously discuss points. And so one key factor in making these decisions was the concept of an exhibition. If we had very good works, and they would all be very, very similar, it would not be an exhibition. And so we would, perhaps unconsciously, without discussing, say, well, we've got 3 of that. We don't want more, let's say 3 performances, for example, or 3 simply text-based works, and, or 10 fine photographic material. And so we were juggling between quality, impact, and making an exhibition. And now when I go through the exhibition, I realize we've done a very good job, because in fact we have managed to balance out quality against interest, against the demand for works which aren't too demanding. And I think this is very important. I think if we had filled this exhibition on a purely high intellectual level and on a high intensive political plateau, I think perhaps there would be problems with the exhibition.
Yes.
We now have, as it were, moments where a sort of comic element, where there is a kind of playful element. And on the whole, it's probably what was needed for the success of the exhibition.
Yes.
For the success of an exhibition where we hope tens of thousands of people, that with their children would come. So they wouldn't all just be looking at horrors and war and how to transform the world, but give people, broad range of people a chance. And where we are sitting is an example of where we are not simply all out for maximum intellectual achievement, but where we also bring in the people. And we've got a person, the people speak, one of the artists, who is aiming at people speaking freely. Well, I think this was a very good choice. We don't know what will happen. I've never met the man, but the principle sounded very good. So he's in, and this afternoon we have a chance for the first time to meet this young man. He's quite young. So in answer to your question, obviously I was not simply in a position where I am an artist with a certain path, with a certain agenda, doing an exhibition. I had to be open, we had to be open to a range of possibilities and people who might be in the show and who may come to view the show. I hope that's a reasonable.
So, yes, very clear. Thank you.
Can I just ask, one of the works in the exhibition is to include all the works that you rejected.
That's right.
I think that's quite an interesting project. So in a sense, you've selected everything. So all 300 proposals are in the exhibition somewhere. Just wonder what you thought about that.
This young man asked everybody who was not in the exhibition to possibly submit their original ideas. But in fact, not everybody has submitted. And I think he ended up with about 150 out of possibly 300 items. But I like that, we like that idea very much. In fact, while we were selecting, I was very concerned about the numbers of rejection. Before we started to select, I discussed this with Linda, and at some point, before this young man came up, I said, well, maybe we can have a salon de réfugiés outside these two buildings, where anybody who has submitted could take part. She couldn't see a way of doing that, but when this submission came in as a submission, we immediately saw, well, that is an answer to my problem and to other problems. So we are very happy that this has come about.
Maybe talk about another of the projects, or maybe select a few projects to talk about why you selected them and why projects that surprised you maybe.
Well, there certainly we both agreed that key issues of our time, like war and struggles and environmental, the problems of the world in terms of the atmosphere, should come in. Now, we had an agenda. We had agreed on a very strong political agenda, and certainly this has determined the number of choices that are in the exhibition. Oh yes, there's no question. We are both very critical of the politics of our time. We both would like to make changes, and evidently so would some of the artists who submitted.
I don't know if it's too early to ask whether something has emerged as a theme. Obviously, you've explained how you put the show together, but sometimes unconsciously, or by itself, a theme produces itself. Has that happened, do you think?
Yes, well, certainly war features. Right, the very first exhibit is war in Iraq, and the photographs by Carrie Levy, you're on the other side, I think. Yes, this series of photographs are dealing with, evidently with torment, And I can't say, I haven't got the dates when these were made, but when we saw her submission, we immediately thought of the war in Iraq, the tortures that were taking place in near Baghdad and elsewhere in Iraq. And it's quite possible that she was inspired by, but this kind of work we do know from her biography. In fact, was started before the tortured body was started before the Iraq War. But to us it suggested war and torment.
Do you think by putting works that are playful and entertaining alongside the more serious, dark works, that it strengthens the political edge?
Strengthens the political edge of the exhibition.
Well, I mean, I've only seen. I'm just thinking of Peter Kennard's big picture.
You saw his
downstairs.
You saw his installation,
which is very, very striking. Extremely powerful visually.
Yeah.
But then some of the pieces, as you say, you've tried to be fair to the quality of the art rather than trying to make a theme. And some people might say, well, that might dilute those artists' works who are trying to make an intervention. Do you think that's happened?
Well, that could well be the case. Yes, that could well be the case. And certainly there will be arguments in that direction, and that's what it's about, to argue. And after all, I'm not claiming that this is a perfect exhibition. And I'm certainly not claiming that this is the ideal way to respond to the world. We are dependent on submissions. Submissions came in. And I mean, we might have submissions that we didn't want to use at all. It could have happened that we would have said, well, I'm sorry, we can't have an exhibition. This work is too frivolous. Hasn't got enough visual quality, and we would have scrapped, or at least I would have withdrawn from being a selector. But I never said I would make an exhibition which would be so focused ideologically as to exclude. I never said, I wouldn't have dared to say that, and it wouldn't be right to have said that, considering it's an open submission. An open submission without an ideological lead. Yes, we never said we want only works going in one direction. It was never said by us.
What's in my mind, in fact, is the opposite argument, that perhaps by leavening the mixture with levity and lightness, perhaps there's more credibility, because it seems to me that many people actually don't want to hear about the problems. So if they see a full-on hardline show, perhaps they would automatically be turned off by that.
Oh yes, certainly. And there I refer to a publication which is lying outside, which do pick up freely. And that is a publication by one of our contributors. It is a team of 5 or 6 young people, and they called Radio Goya. And there's all kinds of texts in that brochure. And in one of the texts, there's a line which ends, we believe in humor and politics, or we are going. Now that is a perfect example of what you were just saying. And they are in the show. They are in the show, and this afternoon we'll be able to hear them perform.
Can I just ask about, Norwich is trying to start a Biennale, and this year East is a big part of trying to attract business sponsorship of the arts. Norwich is trying to get money, and I'm just curious what you think about this type of exhibition in relation to trying to make art popular make it a tourist attraction? How do you see it? How can a city like Norwich, how can it build on East 05? How can it develop? Because you won't be here next year. How would you like it to develop?
Well, this is a difficult question. I'm living in London. I'm just a visitor for a few days for the time of the selection and now the installation and opening. So I'm quite frankly reluctant to get involved. I know it's being discussed and it's an important discussion, but I think at this stage better for outsiders like me just to stay on the outside. Yeah.
Any other questions? I think we could also open it up.
Yes, I think we must.
Any comments or anything? Liverpool? Any comments? Liverpool's not. We should just say this has been transmitted live on the internet, and there's some people in Liverpool watching.
Yeah.
About 10 people.
It's about 10 people, which is good. 10 people is good for an internet broadcast. You're speaking to 10 people in Liverpool
Yes.
just now, which is good.
Well,
That's good.
please.
And these people from Liverpool, yeah. The people in Liverpool can't speak. They can type in the chat. They can talk to us through the keyboards.
So maybe they have some questions.
We'll wait for the questions. Can I just ask about the tonight? So what's going to happen tonight, the private view? Because it's going to be performances, speeches. Do you know what's happening?
I think it's listed here.
Is it? Is it on this one?
Well, it's not listed here, but there is a program which must be outside the gallery.
That's it here. Is it listed there?
That's the one, yeah. So, well, there it is. I think perhaps easier if you tell
Okay.
us.
Okay. I just meant in terms of because this is. Sorry. I just wondered whether you considered not having an opening, because the exhibition, as you say, there are objects tonight, and objects will change. I've been talking to quite a lot of the artists. They were saying, well, it'd be quite interesting rather than have an opening, which is what always happens in an exhibition, maybe to have a closing or to have no opening, or maybe halfway through the exhibition to have another. I'm just curious what you thought about.
Well, I think the issue is that getting people to come to Norwich who are not living in Norwich is quite difficult. And so there is now a bus coming from London with people in the outroad who are very interested. And openings now are events where hundreds of people like to come. It's stabilized, it's established. So I fully accept this opening tonight with the speeches and performances. And of course, ideally, we would have performances today and tomorrow and next Saturday. The question is who would be present. Today, we are assured of hundreds of people in and around Norwich and beyond being here. And artists, of course, like to perform before public. And so I'm not a purist in looking for ideal solutions. I've given it, as you know, a long time ago. I don't want perfection. I don't want to maximize situations. What's happening today is being done with the best of intentions as well as possible. And in that sense, I'm perfectly happy to take part.
Would you see your role as a kind of gardener in that case, rather than as an orchestral conductor?
Oh, well, definitely. I don't want to be on a podium and then fall down in front of the public, which could easily happen. So the lower I am in the hierarchy, the better it suits me. Again, you know that from experience over time.
Yeah, I was just thinking, in a way, gardeners don't create nature. They merely put some seeds here and there, and then they adjust a few things, and then they walk away. Whereas a conductor is there all the time, visibly in front of the audience. So that's why I was thinking.
Don't like that word.
No.
Okay. I think we can maybe just wrap up soon if there's any questions. Yeah. Should we just?
Any questions coming in? Just asking you to describe everything going on around you.
Describe everything. Okay, we need to describe it.
Do you reckon she'll do that? The things that my sister was a great one for that. I mean, I live in the past, but she referred back to me. I'd suggest something, and oh, John, you don't see that now. You don't see that now. That's the best one. She very rarely went down, so I said, how do you know, Mary? You've done a great job. But then again, she had a point, and she wanted to do her house the way it been. She grew up in, you know, that's just no problem there. As long as you're happy and there's no one else involved and it doesn't harm anybody. It takes a long time to learn. I would say we should live 2 lives. Should be given 2 chances.
I always have done, John.
Well, that's what I say. You should be.
I had a business life, a home life, and a leisure life.
Yeah. Yeah.
Three different personalities.
Yeah, well, this is, yeah. Well, so, but I think it would be great if we were given a chance to live twice and realise what your first life was like and avoid the pitfalls. But then again...
As James Bond says, you only live once.
Yeah, exactly. And nobody takes chances then, would they? Because life's made up of failure, success, everything.
That's other people say life is what you make it.
Yeah.
And I say yes, I'm a bloody poor manufacturer.
Yeah, it's... I don't complain about my life. It doesn't mean the best. It doesn't mean the best. There's a few things that change, but not the main things. Not my family, my immediate family. The family I grew up with had changed without without a second thought. It's like we were talking about, Jean was saying about when she grew up and things like that. At one time, I thought it was inconceivable that somebody could hate a member of their own family. But then I started realising when people come out with these sayings there, sometimes friends are better than their own. You know, you can't. You can pick your. You can pick your friends, but you can't pick your family. You can't choose your family.
God sent our relations, thank God.
Yeah.
Let us choose our friends.
Yeah, that's it. You can choose your friends. I've got better friends than some of my supposedly brothers and sisters. Well, they're not the half brothers and sisters, but I've got much better friends and closer. More to me and everything. And it's sad you have to say that. And again, I think it's no good skirting around facts, is it, Kathy?
Well, Jim is watching it, he can't get into the chat room. Jim is watching, but he can't get into it. He's going to try and get into the chat room now. Yeah, he is, yeah. But he came from the previous broadcast, not this new one, so he starts now.
We've had all that.
So, but he should be able to chat room now.
Pardon? Yeah, but he's sending it out on the end. It's gorgeous outside at the moment, you know. It's lovely. It's just nice. Well, I put it on as well, but yeah. I put it on because I knew we didn't know what we were going out into. Yeah, I just said a conversation.
What are we talking about?
Anything we like. It's a beautiful day out there. What are we doing in here?
I've just said that.
Have you? Well, I've just been swan spotting. So I thought there was only 2. There's actually 3. So there must be 4. I did. I wanted to go in for a swim, but the water's a bit mucky. In the canal. It's very mucky. They could do with spending some money on it to clean it up.
I've said before, I said just look around, just you know what to do, just look around.
And there's coffee all set to go downstairs.
Yes, I was just over tea break.
Alan said, he said, sit down, children.
Sit down, children. It looks quite nice actually as you come in here. I think we're doing okay.
Jim says hello, so that was a nice yawn.
So say hello to Jim. Coffee break. Is it union rules, sort of 15-minute, 20-minute? You don't have a union? Gallery rules.
He's with his parents and took his girl.
Okay.
That thing he's done.
What are the headlines this morning?
That lad's in saying murdered his parents and took his girlfriend on a holiday the day after.
Oh my God. Is this the one local Cheshire?
He reckon he suffered from that narcissism where he sort of loved himself, nice looking man.
In other words, he'll spend the rest of his life in Broadmoor or somewhere at the taxpayer's expense.
Yeah, they've actually made out she's got a sickness, but nevertheless, he's going to jail.
I think you should all say hello to Jim now.
Hi. Oh, can he hear? Can he hear? Hi, Jim. How are you doing? Miss you. Wish you were here.
She's a liar.
I'm not a liar. I mean it. What are you up to in Liverpool?
You can read back in John's paper there, or paper.
What's he doing apart from?
He's working in Smile and Wolf, I think.
He's where?
In Smile and Wolf. So
What's
yes,
that?
he works at the job as well.
Oh, does he?
Doing like their web designs.
So he's got a webcam set up.
He's watching on the internet. Yeah.
Can we see him?
Jim? No.
No? Oh, that's not fair, Jim. You've got an unfair advantage there. I haven't seen him since he got rid of his set. His set. His beard. So he's going to be, in fact, on Saturday, yeah? In the box with Stephen Mavis and Vera. Brenda. Oh, Brenda. Those weeping willows are beautiful along that bank over there. My favourite trees. Favourite water trees. The one in Sefton Park, we had one, you know, on the run that goes through, the water run, the water course, as you go through. I'm trying to think, it's got a name actually. It's a biblical name. But the weeping willow that was actually on the first section where the aviary used to be, and still is what remains of it, it's just, it lasted for about 3 years. It broke in half, and it managed to survive for 3 years, but this year it's just a weeping willow in Sefton Park.
You know that big plant just outside Rutland? It's up there, a big tree rather. Is that a cotton tree? Because it used to be falling every, I'd say round about August, July, August.
It wasn't a lime, was it?
Actually looked like and felt like cotton.
Could have been.
I don't know.
Could have been. I haven't noticed it, I have to admit.
You know, quite a lot of it. I noticed
Fluff,
it particularly
like a
when
fluff.
we went in. It was fluff, but it was firm fluff, if you know what I mean. It was touchable and you could roll it in a ball if you want.
It's like cotton. Well, cotton trees are usually the low growing bushes, cotton bushes. Whether or not there is such a thing as a cotton tree, I don't know. I haven't.
This is a huge one. Anyway, I'll be going down for a drink.
Yeah.
Is there a rubbish bin? Is it safe?
Are we going down? Alan didn't say, just sit down. Let's bring yours up. Sweet.
just because
That's perfect. We'll just leave that running.
yeah, I think it's just able to make sure it doesn't.
The problem is that they've got two networks running. This network's working beautifully. Their other streaming projects are using a different server and it's not working, so ours is working fine.
It's not going to change, right? Is it?
Well, they're talking about installing some kind of firewall or
There's
something.
me. Oh, yeah.
It's like the way.
Yeah, it's like 10
1,
seconds.
2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7,
How do you
That's
know
quite a long
there's
delay.
slight delay?
There's a global delay because this is going from there to Copenhagen and back to this machine. So you know, it's running like
I
as fast as
no, seriously,
it's going on
I
a tea
can't
and coffee.
really understand that.
No, it's weird
I
because
always
watching
thought
next
it-
door thing. It's going to be a
I always
Copenhagen
thought
to go
it was
next
a
door.
2-second, just 2 seconds.
No, you see it's quite a long delay. Let's go and have a tea and coffee. It stinks of
It's a
paint.
bit okay to do stuff.
It's fine. It's good. It's good. The chairs are good.
Yeah, it does. It looks, yeah. The picture is really, really nice. Yeah. I think it's because you don't realise the box is actually quite dark.
still going strong. So.
Oh, look at that. Who did that to me?
I thought you knew. I noticed that. It's
Oh.
right.
One option would be to have the projector here somewhere and project onto that wall. It's near the VCR then. Cable. So let's just try that projector in that corner. Because what we're going to do, we're going to film it in the afternoon. Projector on which wall? On that white wall. Yeah. On the night? Yeah. See how it looks. Yeah.
Could we project the screen now?
We got
Yeah, the video out at the back, but that wouldn't.
don't know. Well, let's just try it from the VCR first. Yes, I need to ask. I think they must have the storeroom downstairs where the table from.
Are we using the side?
Yeah, keep no, but I think we need to use it after. I do want to see that in the VCR or something. Yeah, stick on the computer.
What's next on the agenda now?
We're going to just test the projections.
Are you leaving this table here?
Probably, yeah.
We'll find some cardboard to bring to the table so we can not.
Yeah, it's a bit on the set. Let's just show practice.
Yeah, it's obvious.
Yeah, I need it. Just take this projector off. That's it as well, that's what? Is it not just one
If you knock that in,
No, at that bottom one's off. Yeah, but the weights there,
yeah.
just turn it up and back, get the tape around for something.
Any wood glue anywhere? Or the artists? No wood glue?
Yeah, there'll be some downstairs if you want. Wood glue and then we'll tape it.
Yeah.
That's what you do.
It's not such a position.
Yeah, it's one of those things, isn't it? But I just think a bit of wood glue would help that tape to make it more secure. It needs a guide. No, it wouldn't hold it, John.
Has Alan gone looking for glue?
Yeah, he's got the everything there.
He'd be back in a flash with a rush, I think. Oh, how we danced on the night we were wed. We danced and we danced, but the room had no bed.
Disgusting. Honestly. Oh, rugby songs. Oh, might just take.
I think we'll just gaffer tape it, yeah.
Yeah. You think you might need more of that thing? We've got to put wires down.
That's been built before you can see that.
Solid as a rock.
You're keeping it on a straight. Lift. Don't drag it, lift. Mind your fingers.
Just cables out there.
Okay.
Towards this way a bit. Yeah, we're just.
No, we just need a bit of something else. What did you do with that stuff? Any cardboard anywhere?
Well, that's usually that part, actually.
Yeah.
Open it out, so you just put a bit of soup. Yeah.
Okay.
Put a bit of joy. That's their thing. Video leads. That's all we need for
How do we go into this?
got a spare skirt.
So when it came out the VCR,
I saw it in the flesh when we came in here last night.
I did it.
Somebody did pledging.
So we can have nice video in. Let's see what we've got in terms of. I don't know if she's going to use all the windows because it's these extra spaces. You change all these windows here. Who's your headset, right? Yeah. It's no problem. It's there. What? It's great, and I'd love to one in the house.
Does it have to be up this angle?
We're going to just play around with it to see where, we'll see what length the lead is, because it's going to come from the video.
Yeah.
So,
Who's John? What's he using?
Who this is all?
Who's going to use it for a rubbish bag? Who's this?
well, that was mine, it's strange, that's a message it's going to be.
Well, how about that? Is that better or not? Wait, I'll lunch. You must have a immune system that's built up like everything. I want this for rubbish, so we've got a rubbish bag.
Yeah. So, we need to try and get some. So that's on. Is anything showing? Sanyo. Focus there.
Yeah, it's more. There we go.
Sanyo.
So, one seal.
So what?
One seal.
How do these screw down? Push. Just lower these. How do these select these buttons? So we can see what we're doing.
And it's smaller or bigger?
I just want to be able to read what we. Okay, let's just see what the menu says. It should be. You got a menu on the top left hand corner. Yeah. So we can see it. So we want to go to video or computer. Where we come out of video. I don't know if it's select. Auto select. Is that playing?
No.
It's still recording just now. Maybe we need to be on play. Hey.
That's streaming it.
That's streaming?
Yeah. I didn't know we could do that.
Just live.
What?
We play rabbits on this, through this, you know.
Yeah, we could project a stream up on the Saturday
That'd be
night.
kind of cool, actually.
That'd be quite nice.
But just, well, it's about, well, who's going to be watching it on you? Like,
What? No, everyone will be here during the Saturday night. The idea is
the Saturday day, like,
or Saturday daytime. Well, this was more for the Saturday night, so.
Yeah.
Because people are going to be mingling with drinks and stuff and talking to us. It'd be nice just to have that as a. I think it's a record of what we did in the afternoon. We need to show what we did in the afternoon, I think. So I have to run from the video. So let's try and get this to play. So if I stop.